Welcome to Disruptive Capitalists, the show where purpose-driven entrepreneurs and bold investors share how they're reshaping the world by investing time and money in a way that improves lives and creates wealth. So let's get to it. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again today for another great episode of the Disruptive Capitalists Podcast. So today, my guest is Charisse Walker, who is a powerhouse businesswoman with a unique perspective on business, life, and motherhood. As a divorced mom, former corporate executive, remarried mother, and children ranging in age of 9 to 34, which is a huge gap, Charisse knows the difficulties of returning to school while working full-time, juggling a career and family, being a single mom, and dealing with special needs children. Charisse lives in Utah as an author of Flipping the Iceberg, a podcaster for unbreakable mompreneurs, and the host of an Emmy-nominated TV show called The American Dream. She coaches people in 3 different states and invests in real estate, business, and life. Charisse, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself that's not written in the bio.
Right. I love to travel. So that's something I love to see. I have a degree in sociology and then a master's in business. And so I love to see how other people live and just to get different ideas. And so that's something that's unique that we actually just got back from a trip from Hawaii last week. So it was fun.
That's great. Yeah. Where else have you been?
So I've been Italy, Switzerland, Israel, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia. Trying to think, Scotland, Ireland. So not enough. I'd love to go to several more places.
Oh, you picked,
yeah.
Yeah, you picked a lot of really, really nice places.
Mm-hmm.
What's been your favorite so far?
That is tough. That is really tough because I used to hate history in high school and junior high. I didn't understand because I didn't know that that's like history is what happened before. There's a whole bunch of stories. And so I am a huge history buff now. So I think Israel was really, really cool. Completely not what I expected ever. So if you ever read anything in the Bible or anything and what's pictured is not reality. So I think that was fun to go see that. The other place I think was Scotland and Switzerland. So it's really hard to pinpoint one.
Yeah, that's great. I think, like with all places, it kind of depends on where you're at, whether you're in like Italy, northern Italy, southern Italy, central Italy, different places, west Switzerland, central Switzerland, north Switzerland, different places, dramatically different landscapes sometimes.
And people.
Yeah, it's just like the U.S., right? It can be quite different from one end to the other. Well, that's wonderful. Do you take your kids when you travel, or you do this by yourself?
Both. So I've been to all 50 states, and I'm trying to knock those off for all my kids. And so I not outside the country other than trying to think with the girls. I mean, we went to Bahamas last year. That's not really anything. So no, we haven't taken them outside the country, although I want to. My daughter's doing a study abroad for 6 weeks this summer, and I'm really tempted to take my youngers and meet her there. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's great. Where is that at?
She's going to 6 different countries. So Amsterdam, France, Spain, all over. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, great. I love Amsterdam.
Yeah.
France, depends on where you're at. Spain can be incredibly beautiful. Just depends. So that's wonderful. So right now you're a real estate agent. You also mentor. So tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now.
So with residential real estate, I'm actually getting into multifamily as well, but I have a team of people, and then I'm also mentoring. So new agents that come into the brokerage, I have the pleasure of mentoring them. So there's 4 of them that I'm working with right now. And really, real estate, I think it depends on the city or not even the city, the state right now, because where we are smoking hot right now. But I have 2 different clients that are relocating from Arkansas, close to Missouri, and then also Washington State, and their houses have been sitting for a couple months. So it's an interesting time right now.
So homes are selling in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And we're actually getting ready to put up one of our homes on the market. And
Oh,
so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
most places things are not selling right now.
I know, but in Utah they are. And it's multiple offers in a lot of situations as well.
Why do you think that is?
So I don't really want to say this, but I will. So here's a little secret. Utah has a bubble, I think, around it. The culture, and I need to, a year ago, so I need to get new statistics, but 18% of the population is under 18. So imagine I have 6 kids. Many people here have lots of kids. And so when those kids get older, like I think my 22-year-old at the time, he's like, Mom, I'm moving out. I'm going to go get an apartment. I said, no, you're not. We're going to go find you a condo. And so he did right before the whole market boom of 2020. And he just sold his home in January and walked away with a boatload of cash to use as a down payment for something else. And so I think in Utah, there's a lot of people coming here, tech. You have Silicon Slopes, kind of like what was out in San Francisco. So you have a lot. It's a good place to come for businesses. And so we have a lot of people moving here, as well as a lot of kids grow up and they don't want to leave family. And so they also have homes that they want to buy. So if you were to go to Utah County, I was literally just there yesterday. Oh my gosh, the amount of homes that have been built just within the last year is ridiculous. So I think it's just there's a lot of people coming here and there's a lot of people staying.
Yeah, very, very interesting market dynamics.
Yeah.
Like real estate is, location, location, location. Southern Utah, we've been looking there at homes and they've been on the market a long time.
Yes. Well, that's the problem too, is because you still have the sellers think that their home's worth way more. I mean, there's still that 2020, 2022 mindset. And so they start high, but they do come down, but we're still appreciating 3, 4, 5, 6% from last year, but they might stay on the market. Like my listing's about three weeks, and then they'll go under contract. So not too bad.
Wow. Interesting. So you're doing real estate, you're selling homes right now, and they're moving, which is fantastic. You have your own investments. Tell us about that. Why are you investing? What are you investing in?
A little bit of right now. So, well, we just had a renter move out, and you walk in, you're like, oh dang, now I got to take care of the stuff that they didn't take care of it. But yeah. I think for me, so a couple years ago, I'd say 9 to be exact, we were in a situation where I had a family member come to me and say, hey, we have this fantastic opportunity to invest as a family. It's down in Honduras. I've had a dive shop down there for a couple years. And so the person that the dive shop license is in, he owns this hotel and he wants to sell. So long story short, which is a very long story, we bought a hotel, we bought a dive shop, we bought a boat, we bought a restaurant, a catamaran, and it was supposed to be this fantastic thing. It wasn't. So we were on food stamps at the time because I was a college director, had a baby, wanted to stay home, plus my other kids' special needs. I needed to be home. So we ended up going on food stamps for a short time. And so I told this person, like, hey, we can't afford, we took a HELOC out on the house. I can't afford these payments. No problem. I'll take care of it. The whole thing was not what we were told. And so we were significantly hundreds of $1,000s in debt at that point. And so we pull ourselves out, we get into real estate. I start investing, we start flipping homes. And so then I'm like, well, I can make as much like selling the real estate as flipping the home. So why don't I flip them? I mean, instead just start selling and getting a whole bunch of clients, which is what I did. But we started flipping on the side as well. Some of those we chose to keep. Some of those I wish we would have. Oh, I wish we would have. So long story short, again, my husband ended up losing his job last year for a short time. And we were able to, actually, I retired him for about a year, and he decided he hates real estate. And so he went back to his industry and he lost his job. But we were able to, we live in a pretty nice size home, and all of our investments, the passive income coming in was able to cover that. And so it really has gone from where we were hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s in debt to where we have a very nice net worth now and multiple homes that have passive income. So I swear by real estate. I teach 7 different ways to invest, getting ready to do 8. And so it's just, there's something for everybody. And I highly recommend it.
I love that. So you generate enough passive income that when life throws a box full of lemons at you, you're okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And when I have a renter that might not pay, this is why we're getting into multifamily. One versus many, it's not going to hurt as much. And so if you have to evict, it's not as bad. So
Yeah.
it's still, any type of real estate is good.
You know, I've done a lot of multifamily apartment complexes, and location still matters.
Yeah.
Definitely still matters.
Mm-hmm.
Debt really matters. I've seen a lot of people get just destroyed because they did short-term loans.
Yes.
And the market changed.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, nobody understood that the interest rates were going to go up by 525%. Like that was not on anybody's radar. Everybody knew it was going to go up, but not by that much.
Yeah. And that's not going down. Yeah.
Yeah. And then not go down, and then, wipe out 30% of the equity on every project, which happens to be investor equity. And then if you have to sell it right now, you can't hold on to it. You're toast, and everybody loses all their money. So what are you doing, or what are you looking to do in multifamily?
So I belong to a club where, there's about 250 to 500 people on a call twice a week. Grant Cardone is his name.
Oh, Grant Cardone, yeah. Yeah.
And so, I get to one-on-one time, and this man is a bazillionaire. And what he's done, he started with $3,000, and now he's built it into, I think it's 5 billion, but 12,000 doors. And so I team with people in that space where we pitch deals every single week. There's this one, I'll talk to you about it offline if you want, but you talk about location, and it's pretty incredible. And so getting into that more, and the reason why is because if you do a single family home, you have to put 20 to 25%. Now, when we bought some of ours, there was a program out there, it was only like 15 or 10% down, no mortgage insurance, but that one's gone now, obviously. And so, and you have to refinance in 15 years. But with that 20 to 25%, that's a huge chunk of change that you have to put. And then, like I said, if you have one renter, like it's a duplex, if you have one renter that doesn't pay or something, you're hoping the other one will offset that or whatever. With multifamily, you only have to put in, yes, you're getting in with, if you want to call it syndication, if you want to call it a fund, whatever, but you're getting in, and you might only have to put in 20, 50, 5,000. Actually, there's a few I put in 5,000, that's it. But it's usually about 50 to 100,000, and you're getting 400 doors. And so it's much larger scale. I don't have to, like yesterday, the sprinklers weren't on because, oh, that's right, and our person didn't go and turn on the water. So we had to go and turn on the water and take care of that stuff. So, if you have one or two, you don't really want to hire a property manager for just those two. The scale is not there. Whereas if you have 400 doors, I don't ever have to go, because there's definitely a property manager, most likely handyman living on site. So it's like stress-free.
Yeah, it's significant. We've learned that really you need to be over 150 doors.
Yeah.
If not, you're just working.
Right.
Or it's not exactly, it's like, if you want to create passive income, you have to have staff on site, and you only get that. It only makes economic sense when it's over 150 doors. The bigger the portfolio, even the better it gets, because it just becomes such a small, 5 people can run a 200 unit, and they can also run a 400 unit, that staff. And so then it becomes a smaller percentage of the profits, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's, and I have several friends that are doing storage units, and like she's acquired 2, and she was able to quit her full-time executive position because of those 2 storage units. So it's such a different thinking that I never would have thought about even 5 years ago. Love it.
Love it. Yeah. It's I learned a long time ago, there's this thing called the point of choice. And it's the point where your passive income exceeds your expenses. Your monthly passive income exceeds your monthly expenses. And now when it exceeds that, as long as you don't go out and get new expenses, you now can decide to work or not work. You can decide how to live your life because your passive income covers your life. And so that's the point of choice, or the freedom point, depending on how you want to describe it. But it sounds like that came into play big time for you guys when your husband lost his job.
Well, and even before that, because there was a December that I heard him, he was working from home because of the whole COVID thing. And so he was on speakerphone down in the basement, and I went down to say something, and I heard this conversation with his boss, and I got ticked, actually, because here's we call him the closer, we call him the fixer. And he was being walked all over. I mean, he would go to California for 7 weeks at a time and fix their problems and then come back. But when there was time for promotion, they were promoting like 5 people above him. And he had to do all this extra loophole stuff to jump through to be able to get the promotion. And I said, quit. And he goes, what? I said, quit. Give him your notice right now. He goes, are you serious? I said, heck yeah. I go, first of all, I'm making your salary this month alone for the entire year. So we totally are fine. So go ahead, quit. And he's like, really, Charisse? And I said, yep. And so he did. And we did. The passive income was enough to cover what he was making, and it didn't matter. And so he was like, I can't believe this. And we talked with that was the worst thing. We talked with our financial planner. He's like, yeah, you're okay. And he's like, oh, okay. So it's one of those things that it's freedom and now he's doing it because he loves it and he's enjoying it, but much better now. Much better than food stamps.
Yeah, much better than food stamps. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I talk a lot about poverty on my social media and the role of the government being there for us when we need it the most, but as a temporary landing place for us to get back up on our feet and keep going. So how long, if it's okay if I ask, how long were you on food stamps before you got back up?
Had you not asked that, I would have clarified that, because I'm not one to take handouts. And so that was tough. It was, I think, 2 or 3 months. It wasn't very long at all. Because we got the flip and we did well enough with that we were okay.
Yeah, perfect. That's fantastic, right? But you had already created a system to start getting yourselves out, and that's by flipping homes. Do you still flip homes, or you've gotten away from that?
Have not done it. So we moved, I call it the beast, this house that we moved into, and we're flipping the beast right now. So plus dealing with the other rentals. So I'm actually getting back into the flips, but I almost did one. It was a 1901 home. I was so ready. We were under contract, but the inspection did not go well. And so I went back and said, I am not trying to gyp you at all, but what it will do is I'm more than happy to sell. And if we don't sell for more than this, then I will buy the house. And she's like, okay, great. So of course we sold it for more. And so, no, I don't have any current ones, but definitely I'm looking.
Yeah. Great. So you're looking for active flips, passive income at the same time.
Yep.
And you're selling homes.
And I'm a lender, so that's something I do as well. So,
okay. Tell me what you do for lending.
About 2 years ago, I got my license, or 3 years, and I got to say, I like real estate way better than all of there's a lot of red tape with that, and rightfully so. But with the lending, I do a lot of the residential. So just working with other agents. I've done a few refis, believe it or not, because of the situations for my clients. And so that's really, I'm more like, I'll do the loans, especially if it's outside. But if it's in Utah, I definitely want to help you buy the house, and I'll help you refinance the house later.
As a broker, or as as your money?
So no, as a broker, as a lender.
As a broker.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You're all in on real estate.
I know. And I'm like trying to move away to talk about my book and do workshops and things to help save marriages. But then I can't leave the real estate. It is me. That's who I am.
Yeah. And it's where you're generating income and
Yeah.
taking care of your family.
Mhm.
So let's transition to the book. Tell us about Flipping the Iceberg.
So I divorced, that was part of the introduction. And so I preface this by saying my ex-husband and I have a really good relationship because we don't live together. And as long as you keep it on the surface. So I was having a conversation with one of my daughters, actually. I'll give you, in my book, I don't take ownership that it's the father, but he's one of those people you can walk into a room and he's fun to be around. He's energetic. He's very creative, very intelligent. And as long as you keep it on top of the surface, all is well. Well, below the surface, he's dealing with a lot of other things that I lived with. And so for me, I was diagnosed with MS and I had heart surgery on a Friday, went back to work on a Monday. I was dying. My body was shutting down. And so I said, look, you've got to help me out. Like, I can't keep carrying this load. And long story short, he didn't. And so he made this agreement that if he doesn't do specific things, he would leave. And so I said, okay, I held him to his commitment that he made to me. And so 6 months after the divorce was final, because we were separated for like 8 months. And finally I said, I'm not going to wait anymore. It's been 15 years. So I was not diagnosed with MS anymore. And what I realized is my grandma was like, Charisse, if you would just quit your job, he'd step up. And my grandma, if I quit my job, would be homeless. And so people didn't see, like, they saw this really fun, outgoing person, but they didn't see the person I was living with. And it was like a reflection where, Charisse, what's wrong with you? And it wasn't until several years later, my grandma came to me and said, Charisse, I'm so sorry. And I said, Grandma, it's like an iceberg. What you see on the surface is not really what's the truth. And with an iceberg, 10% is above the water, 90% is below. And as I was talking with my daughter in the kitchen, and she's like, why does everybody think he's so wonderful? But he stands us up and he doesn't do anything with us unless it's a Facebook picture. I said, sweetie, it's like an iceberg. And so at that point, I'm like, I'm going to write a book about flipping the iceberg. And so I did that. And so the goal is that people, and even me writing the book, I realized I have had so much trauma in my life that definitely affected the marriage. And so with that, you have to heal yourself first. You have to figure out what your trauma is. You have to figure out all that. Once you can do that, then you can make healthy decisions. So you're not in an abusive or codependent relationship. And then you need to flip your partner and get to know them as much as possible. And I think a lot of times it's changing now because 70% of couples cohabitate before marriage, unfortunately. But you don't really know the true person. And so the goal in the book is, and there's a workbook that accompanies it, is you really you journal through your own trauma so that you can heal. And then you have real conversations with the person you think that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And so hopefully you'll flip it, see the 90% and still discover the 10% after you're married. So that's the goal of the book.
Yeah. Interesting. Mm-hmm. How's that been received so far?
Really, really well, actually. And I'm writing book 2, which is after the I do, because believe it or not, 65%, the biggest number or age group of people getting divorced right now is actually 65 and older. Crazy. So, I think because the youngers aren't getting married, but it's actually been really well received. We're actually starting to do our first workshop is next week, and we're going to start doing some workshops with people. It's free right now because I'm not going to charge until I know for sure the wrinkles are smoothed out. But it's exciting. It's something that it's like a passion project for me that I want to do.
Who's your target person to attend your workshop?
Young adults or divorced, because divorced, you're going to repeat the pattern if you're not healed. Speaking from experience.
Yeah, very interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, Charisse, I really have enjoyed our conversation today. For those who have been listening and felt inspired and want to reach out to you, how do they do that?
So I'm actually going to give you a website. I'm building the other ones right now. So depending on when this airs, it's CharisseWalker.com. And if that one's not working, it's unbreakablemompreneurs.com, because I know that one's working.
Excellent. I'll make sure those are in the show notes. And on there, there's a link that they can reach out to you. They can also find you on
LinkedIn
and Instagram at Charisse Walker 1, number 1. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Any last comments to share?
No, I just love that you have this podcast and that you create a space for people that can talk about how to think differently, that you don't have to do the same thing that maybe your parents did, or that you go to work for your 9 to 5 and you're scrimping and saving and working paycheck to paycheck, or you might be even underwater, that there's different ways to make money. And I love that you create that space to talk about that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Charisse. We're, just as you are, when you have a good message and you want to help people, you want to spread that as wide as possible.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
If this episode shifted your thinking, then share it with someone bold. And remember, capital is a tool. Use it to build a world you are proud to live in.